There he
I tell
is.
you,
Lock
one of
and
these
loaded.
days, I'm really gonna pop out in a robe and a gavel. One of those long powdered wigs that comes down to my shoulders, make me look elegant.
You know, we have the best listeners in the world. That if I ask the listeners, can you guys send us a custom, a costume robe, they'll send it to us like right away. Seriously. Seriously. If you guys want to see Marcel in a robe, let's go. Make it
Hey
happen.
yo,
Make it happen.
I do want to see
judge,
the wig too now, though.
And the wig and
a
the
judge
wig.
robe.
Yeah, we need a wig too. So
I think
somebody
they call
send
it
us
a
a wig,
gown.
somebody send us a robe, and do we get a mallet and everything so you can
The
just
gavel.
the gavel. I'm sorry, not the mallet, the gavel. You are correct, sir. All right, we'll do that also. So let's go. You guys want to see him in a judge's costume every time we do this? Come on, let's go. We can do that.
Yes,
Let's start with a little Miami Dolphins talk. I wanted to ask because I've asked some of the guys today on the show. Will the Dolphins have a number 3 wide receiver, or will the number 3 wide receiver be pot luck? Will it be situational? Because Hill and Waddle get so much attention. You're going to add a tight end, and you're going to have one anyways because you have Smythe. You're going to pass to the running backs also on top of all of that. Will somebody elevate themselves to be the guy, to be number 3? Or does Marcel Louis Jacques think what Orlando Alzugaray thinks, that the third guy won't get enough reps, so it'll be more of a situational thing that McDaniel will use a Barrios here, a Wilson there, a Craycraft here, an Ezukama maybe. I don't know. Your
you
thoughts?
know, I can see a world in which that quote unquote not wide receiver 3, but the third receiver, we can say the third pass catcher, PC3, if you will, is more by committee than anything else. Because when you look at that crop of wide receivers, uh, it, nobody really jumps off the page. I think Braxton Berrios has the best opportunity out of all of them, out of the him, Craycraft, Wilson, Ezukama, to be wide receiver 3 by default. I think his numbers last year. He wasn't necessarily used properly last year. I think it was the quarterback play really brought that offense.
Mediocre quarterback play.
I mean, below mediocre, too. You're being nice. This is the nicest thing I've ever heard you say about the New York Jets is that they had mediocre quarterback play in 2022.
Well,
But
we have Mike White here, so I want to be somewhat nice.
I mean, it was high level quarterback play when he was playing. But
well, then with the shitty play and then his play, it gets to right in the middle. There you go.
But hey, but they do like throwing the ball to Rheaume Mostert out of the backfield. They like throwing it to Jeff Wilson too. I don't know if he's as natural of a pass catcher as Rheaume Mostert was. There were a couple times last year that stood out. I think one of the interceptions, Tua threw against the 49ers, which kind of ran an awkward route and slipped. But they still like their backs to be involved in the passing game. They like Durham Smythe in short yardage situations. It's no longer the Mike Gesicki weapon out of the tight end slot, area of the field. They're not going to push the ball downfield with Durham Smythe, but he's somebody who, you roll out, he can run that quick arrow to the sideline and get you a few yards if need be. And you can't key on him whenever he's in the game because he can block and he can pass or he can catch. Same more or less with Eric Saubert. So no, unless a receiver comes out of the draft, which I don't necessarily expect them to use one of their 4 draft picks on a wide receiver, I'm leaning closer to the committee approach rather than, a Tyler Boyd type where like he's a defined third receiver.
I'm with you there. All right. Will the Jets finally end up giving up the first rounder to acquire Aaron Rodgers?
If I'm the Jets, yeah, why not? Like, what do you have to lose right now, man? Your roster is basically set. You're the rare team that is a quarterback away. You have an excellent defense. You have skill players. You can still add offensive linemen without trying to add one in the first round. Matter of fact, I think that running backs, linebackers, and O-linemen are some of, statistically the worst investments you make in the first round in terms of picking up a 5th-year option. That's neither here nor there. It's an argument for another day. What's the damn hang up? Like, does Joe Douglas think like, oh, okay, I've got Green Bay by the cojones that like I can draw this out as long as possible? Green Bay doesn't care. This is we will hold on to this deteriorating asset, and that's that. If you don't want to play ball, don't disrespect us. If I was the Jets, I would say I don't care what Joe Douglas is saying publicly. I think it was dumb of him to say this publicly. That doing diligence on Lamar Jackson would be operating in bad faith. Screw that. It's the NFL. It's the NFL, man. Zach Wilson is your quarterback right now. All bets are off. Go kick the tires. Go knock on the door. Hey, Baltimore. Hey, what do you want for Lamar? Tell Green Bay, hey, we have this. So you can either lose Aaron for nothing or pay him this $50 million for him to sulk, or like you could play some ball here. Like, you want leverage, that's how you create further additional leverage. It would drive me crazy. I know that Douglas comes out and says, oh, he's going to be here. He's going to be here. Until he is in green and white, I'll believe it when I see it.
All right. Other question. Christian Wilkins, is he worth a contract more than $15 million plus per season?
Yeah. Well, like for multiple reasons. Number one, because that is the going rate for an elite interior defender right now. Mm-hmm. That's the going rate. You took this guy in the first round, and by taking people in the first round, you're essentially saying, I will pay you whatever the market is worth if we're not setting it ourselves. Like, you are financially committing yourself long term when you pick somebody in the first round. And he has been highly effective. He's right up there. He might not be the total, difference maker that Jeffrey Simmons is. I think Simmons is closer to the Aaron Donald category, than Christian Wilkins is. But Wilkins is highly effective against the run. Maybe one of the better run stoppers in the NFL. He's one of the better interior pass rushers in the NFL as well. He is a leader in the locker room. You put the C on his chest back-to-back years. You believe in the guy. You believe in his work ethic. Nothing that they have said publicly, nor anything he has shown on the field, has, should deter them or has suggested that he is not worth that 15 plus. Shit, they gave Agba 15 or 16 a year last year, and that's not a draft pick. He's not a homegrown guy. And I think sneakily, one of the most important things that Christian Wilkins does, you know what it is?
What's
People
that?
aren't talking about this. He gets under Josh Allen's skin. He is Josh Allen's Joker. He is somebody who, as we saw in week 2 last year, he is somebody, week 3 last year, he's somebody who can get under his skin and force this guy who's usually more or less composed in terms of acquiring personal fouls. And this is 2 times now, maybe 3 times in their past 3 meetings, he has caused Josh Allen to break character. Little things like that. I'm not saying that's the most important thing he does, but it's a little thing that people don't talk about that adds a little dog to that defense. It adds a little juice, a little polarity, a little fire to that matchup. So I think, it's not the reason why you pay him, but it's mentioned. It's mentioned.
I mean, look, I see, Vita Vea gets $17.5 million a year. Well, why can't you pay Wilkins 15, 17 the same way? You know what I mean? Aaron Donald gets $31 million. Leonard Williams gets 21. DeForest Buckner gets 21. I'm not saying he's those guys. Chris Jones gets 20. I'm not putting him there, but I think he's in that 15, 17 range. He's probably in that next level with Grady Jarrett, with Kenny Clark, with DJ Reader. He's kind of in that area, Vita Vea, somewhere in that 15, 17 area. I think he kind of belongs in that next level with all those guys I just talked about.
Yeah. If Aaron Rodgers, if Aaron Donald is like the S tier of defensive tackles,
that's not fair. Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, he's the S tier, right? Like, he's the tip of the pyramid. He's by himself. So then you go to the A tier. I think Wilkins is right in that A, B. Maybe I think he took a step into the A tier, the bottom of the A tier.
He's under Leonard. He's under Leonard Williams and Chris Jones and those kind of guys that are right under Aaron Donald. He's that level after that guys. Those guys. I got to give those guys. I got to give those guys. Those guys get like 10 sacks plus a year, bro. I got to give those guys the slight nod over Christian. He's the next level. He's with Vita Vea, like I said. He's with
So we're
DJ
saying B
Reader,
tier. We're saying
Clark.
B tier.
Yeah, B tier.
It goes SAB. So we're saying he's. I
Yeah,
think
it's Aaron Donald is just
he's
nowhere,
S. Like that's it.
nowhere. Yeah.
And then your Jeffrey Simmons, your Chris Jones, your Leonard
That's
Williams,
the
the
A
rest of
tier,
them,
right? And
your
then I think
Forrest Buckner.
right, exactly.
I think that's probably fair. I think again he's upper middle class. I think he's upper middle class. He can depending on the game because like he might not get the sacks, but like sacks are kind of misleading because he still gets the pressures and the tackles for a loss.
Yeah.
Like it's not completely indicative of your success as a pass rusher.
By
So
the
like
way, if he had it outside linebackers and another defensive end that was actually getting after the quarterback and producing, which they weren't last year, he would have a couple of extra sacks too.
he
Because if you
could like
had like I'm expecting Chubb now that he's got his defensive coordinator here that understands him, I'm expecting Chubb to play at a high level now. And if you get Chubb playing at a high level, then all of a sudden now I just think it gets Wilkins to another level too. If you've got to worry about other people, getting after the quarterback. And last year there was really not enough people that were getting after the quarterback. That was the problem.
well, and also the defensive coordinator was calling cover 0 on 3rd and 15. I will never let that go.
Yeah.
I will never let that go. That's the worst defensive call I think I've seen since
They had to try anything.
since that Hail Mary that the Jets lost to the Raiders a couple years ago. The Henry Ruggs Hail Mary, when it's like all you got to do is play prevent, and they go like cover 1 press, like that.
It
was
sucks
right up there.
It sucks when your secondary can't cover and when your front can't pressure. It puts your defensive coordinator in a position that they just whatever they call, they're screwed. And so I see why he tried that crazy ass stuff. I get it, bro. And whether you agree with it or not, nothing was really working because it's hard.
It was
And
the
yet
first quarter.
that defense kept them in every single game, every year, the entire year, bro. Now they were never blown out ever. The 2 games that they were blown out, the team came back, which was the Lions and the Ravens. They were blown out, and then they shut down the team in the second half and allowed the offense to get back in the game and win the game after that. But there was not one game, no matter what, you can pick on a play or whatever, but in the end, there was not one game that the defense got blown out and you say, well, they lost because the defense couldn't stop anybody that day.
No, but there were a few where they didn't win because of the defense. Chicago, they didn't win because of their defense. They won by just simply scoring more than the other team. I know that sounds simple. That's the basic tenet of football.
Yeah.
But like there weren't a whole lot of games that you're saying like, okay, the defense won that game.
And having said all that, that's the one knock that they've had. The running quarterback has always killed them because they don't have linebackers.
I think that this year there'd be a couple of times, like in 2021, where you say defense won them that game. They have the pieces. It just doesn't make sense not to. There's too much star power to not dictate the game.
Last year, once you lost the secondary, they lost everything that they could do with that defense.
The injuries are not secondary. The injuries were horrendous throughout the year.
For the secondary,
and we talked about it. We talked about this in the middle of last season. Like that team that's previously built was built around the secondary. Like they blitz so frequently and so recklessly because the secondary is what it is. That's why they trade for Chubb.
X was on the field, but that wasn't X. That was like a ghost of X, because we all know that that's not X. You can tell that was not X. He did not have the explosion of X. You can tell that wasn't him. So that whole secondary, the only guy that was healthy was a safety, and that's it. And that poor kid had to like play grandma and cover up for everybody, and he couldn't even play his game this year. Watch him with those two.
Either way,
he's going to have 8+ interceptions.
I think, because safeties generally take a leap under Vic Fangio. When you look at Jackson, when you look at the kid out of Denver, Simmons,
safeties take a healthy monster corners, bro. That's all I care about. I don't give a shit about the Fangio stuff. He's going to have 2 healthy monster corners. If he has that, he's going to steal balls left and right. He's going to be a monster this year.
Yeah, monster. I think, like, again, all boiling down to my point that, like, this year, and we said this last year too, but like I think there's more reason to believe it this year based on the additions that they've made on the sideline and on the field, that the defense should win them games, not just keep them in it, not just not lose them the game. Like I think the defense could be the reason. Like when we saw the offense stall out toward the last month of the season, I think that this is a defense that can take the ball away and actually add points, actually score. So I'm talking like this is like Patriots 2020 or 29. What was it? Was it 2019 or 2020 when the Patriots defense was like scoring a defensive touchdown every week?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
You know what I'm talking about? Like I think you could see that caliber of play. There's just too many ball hawks. There's too many difference makers, and now there's a guy who's already considered one of the best defensive minds in NFL history, who's had a year to prepare, who's had a year off to step away from the stress and say, okay, I see what y'all are doing. I've got something for you. Like, I think defensively, this is an exciting year for the Dolphins.
The NFL has approved the new helmet, and you wrote an article about it. But the improvements are, 7% is. I mean, it's an improvement, but it's not like anything. Now, will Tua use it?
Yeah, I would expect Tua to use it because he currently uses the highest rated safety helmet in the NFL. But you never know because players are pretty finicky about the helmets that they use. So I can't say with all certainty, but if I had to guess, then yeah, I think you're going to do whatever you can as in his best interest to protect him. I think he uses the new helmet. But I mean, like a safe helmet, like it's better than a leather helmet, I guess. Like it's better than the squishy helmets back when like Herschel Walker was playing. Right. But like there is no I dare to say that there's no such thing as a safe helmet. There's just helmets that are less dangerous than others. And so I think this is more of a less dangerous helmet than anything else.
In the end, kid, get rid of the ball. Don't hang on to the damn ball for 5 seconds. Don't take unnecessary hits. Don't go taking on tacklers and putting your shoulder into them. That's what Tua has to do. He can wear that helmet, but it won't mean shit if he's hanging on to the ball for 4 or 5 seconds and taking unnecessary hits. In the end, Tua's just got to use a little bit more common sense out there to protect himself. That's really what's going to save him more than anything.
Yeah. It's kind of wild that he doesn't break out of more. He doesn't break out of more tackles because I know everybody saw the Nick Hicks clip of him throwing to Tyreek. I know everybody saw how big his damn quads are. Like we talk about Saquon's all the time. Like Tua's right there in terms of just leg thickness, leg strength. I'm surprised he doesn't churn through it. Maybe that's why he takes so many hits because he believes he can churn. He knows he's strong enough to churn through, in theory, an arm tackle. But yeah, I agree. Throw the ball away. Extend when you can, but like it's a matter of feel.
But I do like seeing that his shoulders and his neck look a little fuller right now. So that's good because that's good for the base of his head to kind of control it. So not just the helmet, but also so you can have a little bit more strength there. I was joking with Hicks, and I was saying he should go Steve Grogan style. And Grogan was a quarterback for the Patriots back in the day.
Thank you.
and he wore a neck brace, and it actually looked pretty cool. If you can just Google Steve Grogan Patriots quarterback, and you'll see the thing that he wore. It wasn't a bad look for him. You know what I mean? But it's just one of those things. Like
it does though. Like it the narrative drives me kind of crazy, and I've had colleagues. So when people say ESPN's driving XYZ narrative, I've had colleagues that reach out to me just to ask me, like, hey, am I out of bounds in saying this? Or, hey, like, is this appropriate? The narrative behind Tua's fragility is kind of out of whack. You know what I mean? Like, he took some hits, and some of them were his fault. But, like, the idea that, the next hit, and he's going to play baseball, or he takes one more hit, and he's going to retire.
Stupid.
Dude, you could say that about literally every scenario in any sport, any aspect of life. I could take 2 steps out my door right now and it could be my last. There could be somebody out there with a weapon there, or I could have an aneurysm. Like anything could be our last.
I know.
Like I hate it. I hate that narrative so damn much, man. It
Well,
drives
hey,
me
listen.
nuts when I see it, when I hear it.
Look at our boy Adam Beasley. If you look at his headline, oh, Tua's concussion problems. Yeah, he doesn't really have concussion problems. He just had an issue this year. Okay, he's had an injury problem throughout his career because that's gone on for several years. But he's not Sidney Crosby. He's not what's
Stevie Young.
the Steve Young, but no, the kid from Florida that just retired, the tight end, Reed, Jordan Reed. He's not Jordan Reed, bro. That he's having a concussion every year or two. That's not who he is. And so now you build up a narrative that concussions are a career problem for him. Actually, they're not. It was just last year. He did have one other concussion, but that's when two fat 300-pound dudes landed on him and busted up his hip. He also suffered a concussion there that day. But outside of that, concussions aren't like habitual for him. And that's how Beasley made it sound in his story. And to me, that's where these narratives come out of, because you're dying to get hits and you're dying to get views and you're dying to get your name out there. So you got to put Tua part of it.
I haven't read. I can't speak to Adam. I mean, I love Adam, so I can't speak to
He's a good
anything that
dude.
he's
You're a
written.
good dude, but I
And I
disagree with
never, I didn't read it. I haven't even seen it, to be completely honest. I just like I said, I've had colleagues reach out to me and said, "Hey, my co-host thinks like this," and it's like, no, that's not the case. And I think what bugs me the most about it is that people don't actually care. People don't actually care about his health. You don't actually care
Right. Yeah.
about his longevity. It's pearl clutching, man. It's the definition of pearl clutching. Because if you cared, you'd be engaged into every aspect of this story, right? But so many people think it took him a month and a half to get out of concussion protocol this last time. Not enough people talk about the fact he admitted the Dolphins shut him down for the rest of the season. He didn't start progressing until after the Bills playoff game.
Right.
And at that point, what the hell is the rush?
Which made that report out there complete bullshit. That if they win in this week, Tua might come back the following week. Remember that report that was out there? Oh, if they win this week against Buffalo, Tua might come. And that shows you that report was completely a lie, because Tua wasn't even in concussion protocol at that point, because the Dolphins did not allow it. Which, by the way, I love the way the Dolphins approached that.
It's the way, and they didn't they could have maybe announced it publicly, but I could appreciate the fact that McDaniel said, "Look, man, we're on a damn 5-game, whatever it was at that point, losing streak. Our playoff lives are hanging by a thread. We have bigger fish to fry right now than whether or not our quarterback is going to play again or what stage of protocol he's in this season. Tua, you're not playing, and you're not playing the rest of the year. We're rolling with Skyler, and that's that." Like it was a masterclass. He kept the focus on Skyler. He said the same thing every time when it comes to Tua. They didn't authorize anybody to talk for Tua, and Tua's camp obviously has fewer leaks than damn Fort Knox sprayed with what is that called? Flexiglass, that spray can, you know what I'm talking about? That Billy Mays makes a boat out of it. Yeah. Fort Knox covered in that shit has more leaks than Tua's personal camp, than Tua's inner circle. So like it was well played. It was well played by the Dolphins and everybody involved. But yeah, man, like they think he's gonna be fine. He thinks he's gonna be fine. We'll roll the ball out in September. And we'll see for sure. Hopefully the kid can make it through the season healthy. He's electric when he is healthy. He's one of the better passers in the league, one of the most efficient passers in the league when he is. I think that instead of like crying out for, he's too fragile, he's this, he's that, I think more fans of the game should say, wow, I want him to be healthy, because the league is more fun when he's slinging balls to Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. It's objectively more fun. That's why you buy the damn ticket when the Dolphins come to town, because you want to see bombs like that. You don't want to see nickel and dime this and that. You don't want to see an injured quarterback. It's like going to buying a ticket to the Marlins game. I want to see 18 home runs. I don't want to see a freaking 2-hitter, a 3-hitter. I want to see nickel and dime ball.
See, that the problem is that also makes every run count, every hit so important. You're at the edge of your seat. So there's nothing wrong with tight games, because that's great pitching and great defense. By the way, the Adam Beasley headline: has the NFL helped solve Tua Tagovailoa's concussion problem? See, and that's my issue with that. Because
I will also say though
unless
that
you
like
start suffering
writers don't often
concussions
pick
this
the
year,
headline.
well, I mean, it's his tweet. He wrote it. Like he wrote it. I get it as it's on the headline, but then he wrote it on top of it. So and the picture has Tua for the article. It's a helmet thing, but he has Tua. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like perfect. You know what I'm saying? But this creates a narrative that's a bunch of bullshit. And I love Beasley. Disagree with him on a lot of this shit sometimes. He was a guy that didn't believe Tua could play anyway, so that's all right. He dismissed me completely last year, and I haven't forgotten that, and that's all right. And that's all right because I got the last laugh. But bottom line is, uh, this is just to get hits because Jordan Reed had a concussion problem. Steve Young had a concussion problem. Sidney Crosby has had a concussion problem. These are people that have been going on with it for years. That's a problem. This was 1 year. 1 year.
Yeah, like it has potential to become a problem.
Okay.
Sure, you can't deny
Okay.
that. It has the
Okay.
foundation has been laid for it to be a problem, but as it is right
Okay.
now, it's
Okay.
not a. He doesn't have a history of it. He had two.
Right. If it happens this year, we got a problem, Houston.
I think
That's all.
everybody. I think that's how you meet in the middle. That is compromise.
Right.
This is the court of law. This is how we found a compromise here.
Yeah.
Shout out to
It's
Rheaume.
got to happen again this year for it to be a problem. Like his injury history, that, my friend, has been a problem. That you want to tell me that Tua has an injury history problem? Okay, I'm all good. I'm stepping back because that's the only concern I've ever had for the kid. But
That's
concussion
fair.
problem, that to me, that's sensationalism at its finest, right there, is what you're trying to do. Are you buying that the Odell Lamar Jackson experiment will work?
It's not. It's so hard to opine on it right now because we haven't seen Odell in like 2 years. You know what I mean? Like I haven't seen Odell since the first half of the Super Bowl
And it's hard to even rely
last
on him.
last year. The thing is, like he produced with the Browns. He produced with the Browns, barely 1,000 yards, but still 1,000 yard receiver back to back years. And his Giants years were just outrageous. However good you think those numbers are, if you go look at him, if you go look at them, you're gonna be surprised, pleasantly surprised. So yeah, I would like to think, okay, it's not like the guy forgot how to play football. He's got to be fully healthy. It's been a year since. He's not necessarily injury prone. He's had a couple freak injuries. I would like to think that like he could put up another 1,000 yard season. Yeah, yeah. Is he going to be 1,500 yards all pro? I don't know about all that. I don't even know if Lamar is. I don't even know if this means Lamar is coming back. Like that's what we heard today. Odell's like, yeah. I mean, I hope he's back there, but that wasn't the terms of his signing.
No, the terms were ain't nobody giving me this money. I'm taking it right damn now.
I was about to say, look, I love working for ESPN. I love it, man. I love it. But if I don't know, awful announcing or fan sided or the Jerry and Jody blog from Seguin, Texas offered me $500,000 a year of legit money,
Gotta go. Gotta go.
I will forego my Disneyland passes every year and say like, hey, baby, I'll buy us a season pass. I'm sorry we don't get in for free anymore.
By the way,
Money talks. Like it's hard to say no.
Are you saying land or world? I'm not, because I know you're a West Coast guy, but you're in the East Coast. So
What did I say?
you said land, but
Oh,
you
well,
could be. But
it
I don't
don't matter.
know.
I can go to either of them. It doesn't matter. Disney is Disney, baby.
I know, but if you got annual passes, it's a little harder for you on the West Coast. So that's why I was asking.
No,
Is it world or land?
We plan on. Matter of fact, I need to double check after I get off here. I need to double check the reservation system to go for Haley's birthday. I think that's when the Food and Wine Festival is, like late June.
Yeah, but by the way,
July.
there is no comparison, anyways. World kicks land's ass.
It's not even close.
It's not even.
I think a lot of things I've realized, like since moving to the East Coast, are better. Like I was only like beating my chest for them because it was local. Like for example, the Pacific Ocean is trash.
Oh no, too cold.
Pacific Ocean trash.
Yeah.
This ocean over here,
Yeah.
oh yeah, nice and easy. Go on a boat, like can chill, sit out there and relax on it. Like wonderful.
Yeah.
Man, we were on a boat for like an hour in Cabo a couple weeks ago, and that thing was
rocking.
I was like, oh hell no, man, get me off of this,
bro. The Pacific Ocean is a mean ocean, dude.
Yeah, I was
There's
like,
a lot of shit going on in the Pacific. There's more like earthquake activity and underground volcanoes and like, bro, the Pacific Ocean is a vicious ocean, dude. Okay,
like my God, I was like, I don't, and like I do get seasick. I have been seasick before, but only when like my dad and I have gone. We've gone deep sea fishing. So like we went off the coast in Alaska fishing for halibut about maybe 10 years ago or so. It's something about waking up in a rough Pacific Ocean, miles offshore to the point where you can't see a crumb of land. Yeah, it didn't sit right. I fished in Panama as well, in basically a glorified rowboat, again in the Pacific damn ocean. Like, I was like, man, this ocean sucks. Bring me back to Miami.
Yeah,
this is tough. You can't even swim in it. They tell you.
You only beat us over there because less humidity. That's about it. That's the only thing that we are brutal here, bro. You're taking a second shower when you walk out in the summer. It is just our humidity here is vicious. In the West Coast, it's not as bad. The humidity out there. That's the one thing. Our water's warmer. The ocean's nicer. But yeah, you will sweat more here than you will over there.
Yeah, training camp was tough. The trick though in training camp, as I think we all found out, is you sit in the top row, because then the wind comes in. And I was like, oh, never mind. Now I can be here.
Wingfield told me that. Travis goes, no, you got to sit.
Shout out to Travis Wingfield.
Travis gets all the props for that, bro, because he's the one that told, no, you got to sit up there. And
that's why, like, if y'all, there's taped off seats for media. If you ever gone to like a summer practice, and like I'm usually not so big time that I would want to like, hey, there's media seats, get out. But if you sitting in that back row, I need you to bounce, big fella.
Get your ass out.
Yeah, we need those, man. I need you to come up out of that seat, man. We need those.
Yeah, I'm with you there. All right, what do you got going on ESPN so Dolph fans can check you out, my friends?
Just spoke with Mel Kiper Jr. and Jordan Reed about the prospect of taking a running back early, about when it's worth it, when it is not. So that should be coming out either tomorrow or Saturday. I am in love with the idea of Jahmyr Gibbs at 51. But Jahmyr Gibbs is probably not making it to 51. That is the sense I keep getting, is that he's a top 45 kind of guy, and that there's enough talent on the back end that it's not necessarily worth trading up for. It's not worth packaging, even to move up a few picks. I think you got to wait it out. But obviously, it depends on how the board falls out. Chris Greer, based on his history, this is not a move. A trade up for a running back is not a move that he would make. He hasn't taken a running back before the 7th round since 2016.
No, he took Kenyon Drake in the 4th.
In 16.
Oh, that was 16?
Yeah.
It was that long ago already? Wow.
That long ago. Yeah. Jeez. So everything. It's Malcolm Perry, Jared Dose, what's his name? Myles Gaskin. I think there's a 4th. All of them 7th round.
That kid's career is still the weirdest career in my that I've ever seen, because he has all the talent to be a starter, and yet I don't know what the hell happens sometimes behind the scenes, but he never gets the opportunity. And then when he does get opportunities to run, he'll shine, bro. He'll do some shit that you're like, wow. And I always wondered about that kid, like, man, what is it that he never got that opportunity? It's so weird. Kenyon Drake he's got a boatload of ability.
It's almost the smart move, though, if you think about it, like just being that, like the second back, because you're right. It's a lot more tread on your tire, or less wear and tear on your body. So your longevity, you can keep signing $6-7 million contracts every couple years.
But he's talented enough to be like one of the better ones in the league. It's just It's really odd how it's never really jived for him. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if he's an odd bird or something behind the scenes or something. I don't know what it is, bro. But Kenyon Drake is just one of those guys that I look at and I just wonder, what if somebody said, you're going to be our number one guy? Like a couple of years ago, like 2 years ago, when the Raiders drafted the two guys in the 6th and 7th rounds to then replace him, I was like, what the hell are you doing? And they were just open to getting rid of him. It was just like the weirdest thing, dude. Odd.
I think they overpaid him, though. I think that was the issue.
Yeah, I
I
know
think
that they
they were
had to
paying him
do.
like 7 a year, and like he should be signing for 7 total. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
they gave him like that Chase Edmonds money,
And
and
I even told his agent at the Senior Bowl, I go, dude, I don't know what the hell's up with your client, bro, but he should have had a much better career than he's had right now. And he's like, me too. So he was kind of like feeling the same way that, but it's just really odd with Kenyon Drake. Anyway, follow him on Twitter at Marcel_LJ. Catch his work there at ESPN. We will catch up next Monday, my friend. Have a fantastic week and appreciate you.
yes, sir. Y'all do the same.
Thank you, sir. Welt and Rheaume, 954-966-4646. Bankruptcy, criminal defense, condo damage, business owner claims, commercial litigation, personal injury, Dade, Broward, Palm Beach, anywhere in Florida you can call them, man. They've got an office also in the Keys. Okay, one of our listeners in Orlando. Thank you, sir. Came down to Hollywood and hired them. You can call them for a free consultation. And please trust them. Do not trust these insurance companies and their adjusters who are working for them. 954 966 4646.